Drama bin drama, Arab drama, Ole drama, Nyar drama, Said drama, Asi drama, zote pamoja. Yeah! In a landmark ruling, the Court of Appeal has returned a verdict that means the process of impeaching Rigathi Gachagua was null and void. The process of inaugurating, swearing in Deputy President Kithure Kindiki is null and void, was not legal according to our laws and the Constitution. Effectively what it means, because some lawyers are trying to give us kizungu mingi, effectively what it means is that the situation returns to what it was at the time this ruling was made, which means the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is Rigathi Gachagua. Folks, that is really what it means. We can talk about interpreting the law. We can talk about many things, kizungu mingi, but that is the truth in black and white. Bila my feelings, bila the politics. However, we are a very political nation, and so the politics kicks in. All the process to install Kithure Kindiki as Deputy President was complete. It has nothing to do with the court ruling. Blah, 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 blah. You know, this court knew exactly what they were doing, and they knew the implications. And therefore, according to me, it is a mystery that they did not complete the judgment by saying, or by telling us, or at least issuing a clarification in the order, to the effect that the situation remains the same until the Gashagua case is heard yet again and a ruling made. That would have made things very clear. But they didn't. Was it deliberate? Hey, to be clear, let us back up a little and understand exactly what this case was all about. Let me just remind you. This was the case filed by Gashagua, opposing his impeachment, saying that it was illegal. And Gashagua's prayer to the court is that the court declares the whole process illegal, not possible. Actually, he was trying to block his own impeachment from the Ruto government. But actually, the most key important thing here, which I've not heard anybody talk about, but it is terribly important, is that this particular ruling, at least for the moment, clears Rigathi Gachagua to vie again for any public office of his choice, including the presidency. Because you see, if you're impeached, you cannot vie for any public office ever again in your life. You cannot even vie to be chairman of the cattle dip in your village. You can't. And friends, you will agree with me, that one is significant. Still, I am very sure you want to hear what the spiritual angle is, because actually it is the most important by far. Okay? And it shows us very clearly where we are going. It shows us very clearly what happened and what must happen in the near future. Okay? Very quickly, this is what it is. Actually, this whole drama, believe it or not, started on August 2022. What happened? We had an election that produced results that sent shockwaves right across the country. And for sure, it was not the good political shockwaves. You know, good political shockwaves is where you're shocked at the popularity of a candidate who comes from nowhere and wins an election, and he has supporters on the ground, and people say, yes, we voted for him, yes, we are with him. Those kinds of shockwaves. To give a recent example that I know will not please all of us, but it is an example. The win by Trump of the presidency of the United States of America. It sent shockwaves, in fact, beyond the US, right across the world. However, Trump's supporters were recognizable. People could see them. People could understand the results. That is not what happened in Kenya in August 2022. And therefore, staying on point, we ended up with a fake president. Actually, a fake presidency. A president and the deputy that were fake. Okay? And then shortly after that, we have ended up with a fake inaugurated, sworn-in deputy president. And the very clear, undisputable evidence of that is that at the time Kithure Kindiki went through this whole process, there was no IEBC in the motherland that was functional. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission was not in existence. That is the very clear evidence. Just leave Gashagua's case aside for now. That was the very clear evidence that this was not a genuine, and in fact this was a fake deputy president. By the way, don't forget, we're speaking spiritually. Now when you have a fake product, we all know what happens. The product does not work properly. It does not work how it is supposed to work. If you use a fake spare part in a machine, even your vehicle, not only will your car not work properly, it will affect other genuine parts within the car engine. And it is very possible that the whole car engine one day could collapse, come crashing down. The whole engine. Okay? Why? Because of a single fake part, fake spare part installed. Now. Isn't that what we're seeing in the motherland right now? Right before our eyes? To sum it all up very clearly, this latest Gashagua very unexpected drama is a very clear sign and indication, reminding the country, taking the country back to where it all started, August 2022, with a man called the late Wafula Chebukati and others. This is a very clear sign to remind us of that. And to remind us, in case we have forgotten, that this whole story started with a fake spare part installed in the vehicle called the Republic of Kenya. It is a very clear sign spiritually that we have reached that place where the vehicle owner finally decides enough is enough. We need to remove all the fake parts from this vehicle. If we do not do that, then this vehicle, kwisha maneno. The choice is really as simple as that. Very simple. Spiritually, this is the very clear message for all Kenyans. And I need to be shocked at that. Do you realize the implications of that? Those of us who understand that things must happen in the spiritual before they happen in the physical, do you realize the implications the consequences of that particular very clear spiritual sign. And nobody saw it coming. Now, there is another even more disturbing angle to this story. Some analysts are actually telling us that this whole drama has been instigated by very powerful people in the country called Kenya, who are backers of the UDA government. Okay? And the whole objective is to remove Rigathi Gachagua from the opposition and give UDA an excuse and the opportunity to correct their mistake of removing him in the first place, which has caused them so many headaches. To allow them to remove themselves from that mistake, bring back Gashagua to the UDA fold, effectively removing him from opposition of this government. You know, something legal is legal, and it is final. It is the law. Yeah? And so if the law says Gashagua is still the deputy president, so be it. Okay? And please note, the idea is not a situation where they lived happily thereafter, yeah, with the Rigathi Gachagua as deputy president. No. The whole idea here is to cut the feet of Rigathi Gachagua, the political feet. Now, in my opinion, what these analysts are saying is not far-fetched. Because for starters, we know that in our motherland, justice is for sale. I mean, that is not in dispute. Because if you see the land of your neighbor and it belongs to an aging old woman, na uanze kumezea mate, and you have enough money, you can organize things so that a court of law in Kenya legally declares that land as being yours. We have seen that happen so many times since the independence of Kenya. So many times. Indeed, I'm certain there are some of you listening into this video who have been victims of the same. So we know it happens. Indeed, some people have claimed justice in Kenya was purchased to make Ruto president. Okay? That is not a secret. I'm sure you've heard that rumor. Bottom line, anything is possible in the judicial system in the country called Kenya. Unfortunately so. I mean, tuambiane ukweli. Tuambiane ukweli leo. Okay? We know that before Ruto became president, the judiciary was very concerned that the executive had refused to install some certain judges, yeah, into the court of appeal. Please note carefully. Into the court of appeal. Very relevant to what we're discussing here. And then when Ruto took over, the first thing he did, this one was not in his campaign. You remember? Nikiweka Biblia chini. Yeah? This one was not in that campaign. But apoweka Biblia chini, what is the first thing he did? He installed these judges of the court of appeal. Now my question is simple. What did Ruto get in return? Okay? What did he get in return? Okay, you might respond and tell me he got nothing in return. He just exercised his duties as president. My response to that? Okay. Okay. Ni sawa. Umenijibu. You've given me an answer. And I have nothing to use to argue against the answer you've given me. At least I don't have enough. At least for now. Let us leave that one there. But I'm sure I have gotten my point across. Now, we already know where this is going to end. Yeah, because we've looked at the spiritual, and we know how this ends spiritually. There is no second option. There is no, but this might happen, that might. No, please let us get that clear. We know what is going to happen. We know the process here. Okay? When a car starts rolling downhill and it doesn't have brakes, and there is no rock or tree blocking the way, and over the edge, right there at the bottom, is the sea, there is no debate here. We just know water. That is where the wreckage of this car is going to end up. Water. Hakuna debate hapo. And therefore, spiritually speaking here, there is no debate where we're going. Okay? So that one, we're done with. I need to remind you of something that maybe many of us have forgotten. What was the reason that former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta used to refuse to install those judges? What was the reason? And this information is in the public domain. It is not sensitive information gotten from a source somewhere. No. Go back to the media at that time. Go back to the newspapers at that time. Use Google. Find out what was the reason Uhuru used to refuse, very stubbornly so, to install those Court of Appeal judges. Just answer that question for me. Sitaki kitu ingine. Just answer that question. Okay? And now, let us try to predict the response of Rigathi Gachagua to this latest development. Indeed, if Kenya was a mature democracy, what should be happening right now is that Kithure Kindiki should be doing the honorable thing and resigning until this issue is resolved. But I don't think that will happen. But let us come back to Gashagua. If you are Gashagua, what would you do? Well, I believe the answer is very simple. Gashagua is enjoying political popularity he has never dreamed of in his life, in his wildest dreams. And therefore Gashagua will do anything in his power to ensure that he retains this massive political support from the Mount Kenya region. And we know that he will not do that by accepting to go back to his old position as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. That is clear. And therefore, what we should expect going forward, in case the fresh sitting to hear Gashagua's case goes ahead and actually vindicates Gashagua, it is rather obvious that Gashagua cannot go back. It would be political suicide. But then, as I said earlier, that is not the main objective. The main objective is to cut Gashagua's political feet. Because if he's legally the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, and the government says he's legally the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, already there is a problem. A huge problem. Because, and this one is chilly, because our Constitution says, in case the President is not able to continue these duties, who takes over the presidency until the next election? The Deputy President. Legally. And so, Gashagua anaweza kucheza kama yeye. But in case the President, for whatever reason, is no longer able to continue as President, he can quickly rush back with his legal documents and get sworn in as the President of the Republic of Kenya. Hey, we're in a fine mess, aren't we? You know, yesterday, somebody sent me a message via SMS that brought tears to my eyes. And initially, I could not understand why tears were coming to my eyes. Okay? What was the message? It was a long message. But let me quote the part that brought tears to my eyes. Chris, thank you for your service to the motherland. I remembered the last 20 years and what my babies and even the departed have gone through because of the Kumekucha path I have taken. Now don't get me wrong. I have absolutely no regrets. I would do it all over again 10 times because I believe it is my calling. But then what I think triggered this emotional thing is that this person reminded me, very suddenly, very vividly, what it means to be Kumekucha Chris. And I take this opportunity to thank you with all my heart, especially those of you who recognize this and have responded in a big way towards our birthday celebrations, sending me birthday wishes. Even those of you who sent it without kakitu. And especially those of you who sent your wishes with something to help maintain and build Kumekucha to the next level of a better Kenya. I remain very committed. There is nothing else I'm dedicating my whole life to except this. Oh boy. Anyway, you can see details on the screens right now. We continue to celebrate and you have the opportunity to participate and also have a chance to win that super special golden pass to everything Kumekucha. Asante sana in advance to those who are still coming. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.